Yo, Deepwoken University, lesson 3 already. 3 lessons in 3 days, I know. I'm on a record right now. Today, I'm going to be tackling builds and the build creator. Now, this video, I'm going to try to not make it too long. It's going to be kind of inevitable though because there is a lot to talk about. But watching this video is not going to allow you to make good builds just off the top of your head because you are going to have a lot of game knowledge to know what cards are better than other cards in certain situations. But it should give you an idea as to how you could use the basics of this site. That's going to be linked in the description, which is Deepwoken Builder, which everybody uses to make builds in Deepwoken. Alright, to start off, this first section of the video is going to be about Shrine of Order. Now, whenever you want to make a build, you kind of have to use Shrine of Order, which is a shrine in game that lets you cut down your stats at a certain point. Now, how this works is, let's say I have these stats into my account, right? Now, I have these stats, and if I were to use Shrine of Order, in game, it would do these to my stats. You could see that it cuts the stats by a max of 25 stat points, okay? And it distributes it into the rest of my stats. Now, a couple things to note. When using Shrine of Order, your attunements are not affected, meaning you could put 100 into your attunement and it'll go past the 25 stat point cap. But when you put it into a normal stat, no matter how much you put into it, it'll max only take out 25 stat points, which is really important to remember, okay? Now, what does this mean? This means that shrining attunements is actually really beneficial if you are gonna go for certain cards. Because when you shrine, you have to remember that it also shrines the stat points. Meaning, if I shrined 100 Thunder Call, I'm not gonna be able to have a level 5 Thunder Kick, for example. I'm gonna have a level 2 Thunder Kick. But any 100 stat point cards that I would want, I still keep. So cards like Static Fake Out that require 35, I will keep when I have 27 if I get it before Shrine. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know this concept, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but that's pretty much how Shrine of Order works. But there's a lot more to Shrine of Order than just that. Now, when you shrine things, you have to keep in mind a lot of things. One thing I like to kind of keep in the back of my mind is I like to keep a note as to how many stat points I'm actually saving. What I mean by this is, if you look at this stat, if this shrine right now, and if I shrine this, I see that I'm saving 25 stats in Fortitude, 25 stats in Agility, and 14 stats in Strength. So if you put your thinking cap on, that's a total of 64 stat points saved, quote unquote. Alright, but let's say there's a card at 50 Strength. There isn't, but let's say there is. Then now, instead, I'm saving 75 stat points. That's just something to keep in mind though. You don't really have to go by that. You don't have to try to save as many stat points as possible using Shrine. That's not really the point of it. The point of it is to just try to get really good cards by not having the stat requirement. On screen, I'm going to put a long list as to what cards you should try to get using Shrine of Order and what cards you should try to prioritize. Do keep in mind though, when you are using Shrine of Order, you want to try to prioritize things that revolve around your build, if that makes sense. So, for example, let's say I want to have a really high pen build, okay? Really high M1 pen build, to be more specific. I know that I need to go 90 strength because the M1 pen on cap is at 90 strength. So I have to go this strength no matter what. But because I'm going 90 into it, I know that if I shrine this, I'll get 25 out of it, which is the most I can get out of it. So it'd be optimal for me to go this pre-shrine as I'm able to save the most amount of stat points going it. To continue on to the build, if I know that it's a high M1 pen build, then I could also go 80 willpower because I know that piercing will gives me 20% pen, which would add on to that. It's 80 willpower. I can get a lot out of going this pre-shrine. Now this is an example of something you want to avoid with Shrine of Order, and that's shrining at a really high level. Well, you'll think, okay, I have 90 strength, 65 agility, and 80 willpower, so theoretically, I should save a lot of points doing this. But when you shrine at a high level, you have to also keep in mind that it distributes those same stats out to your other stats. So you could see here in Fortitude, I'm not actually saving 25 points, which is not optimal, and I'm going to 35 Charisma, which is something I don't really want if I just want to go to 25. So instead, what you can do is you could, for example, get rid of all the Fortitude and you could shrine without going Fortitude pre-shrine. And by doing this, instead, you save points in your other stats by not going too much into them, if that makes sense. So that's just another concept that you guys want to keep in mind. I'm not going to talk too much about Shrine of Order though, as I can talk about this for a very long time. I don't want to spend too much time on it though. Next, I'm going to talk about talents and how you can optimize your talent hands. This build that I'm going to use as an example is pretty standard. It's not really min-max that much, but you guys got the gist of it. Now, to start off with talents, whenever you go to your actual talent section on the build site, you're gonna see different highlighted color cards. Now, a card being this kind of brownish yellow tint of highlight means that you meet the rec for this card only before shrine. So as you can see, like these shrine stats are pretty standard. I have 40 strength, 50 fortitude, and 40 agility. Any card that was highlighted prior, go back to it. Any card that is highlighted means I only meet these stat recs when I have these stats, okay? But what does this mean? So let's say I pick Ghost, I pick Exo, I pick Ground Support, Neuro, get Showstopper, Charisma cards, Unwavering, and bam, that's it. So I know now that I need to get 13 cards pre-shrine. And if I'm shrining at level 12, that means I'm getting around, I think, give or take like 20 to 25 hands, I think. Talent hands, that is. Don't quote me though, but that is nonetheless a pretty high amount of cards that you need with those selected amount of hands. Now, what you could do to make your life easier is to make a stat order. Now, in this case, going 55 charisma, I only need 2 cards going 55 charisma, right? Which is Lasting Charisma and Chaotic Charm. Going agility, I need 1 card, which is Ghost. And then going fortitude, I need 1 card and a mantra. Strength is 2 cards. Now, what you do whenever you plan any stat order is you want to try to prioritize the stats that you need the most cards in. So for me, it would be strength. And then it would be fortitude because it requires a mantra that I need to get to. Agility, and then charisma last, okay? And that's precisely what the stat order would look like. Now, to be more specific, you would go 25 agility and then charisma and then agility last. Because Ghost is an advanced card, meaning you're guaranteed to get it no matter what. Both charisma, you're going to get 2 cards that you need at 55, making it a little bit harder and a little bit more room for error. So you would probably do that instead. But that's another important concept to keep in mind, being stat order and cards you get before shrine. Post-shrine cards is kind of subjective. There are objectively better cards that you should be taking though. For example, the Bastion Tree is objectively really good. Cards like Gormon and Anxious Nerves or Anxious Guard are really good. Fast Blade, the agility cards, Bear Trap, just kind of must take cards. That's pretty much it though. Let me know what other Deepwoken University videos you guys want. Peace out.